Hey beauties, it's Riri. Welcome back, or welcome if you are new, and welcome on into today's video. We are diving right into our top 10 spring palettes for 2024. I'm going to start with the palette that I have on my eyes today. I wanted to create something that was soft, peachy, pinky, and the Nomad Cosmetics Harajuku Tokyo palette was the first one that came to mind for me. This sadly is discontinued, but this to me screams springtime. It's super soft and pastel. I love the different variety of tones in here. I love that we have 2 rows of mattes with the shimmers also. And when I think of spring, I think of pastels, purples and pinks and blues and yellows and things like that. But then I also think of it being a little bit more soft, a little bit more ethereal. And I really, really love playing with metallics, like pastel soft metallics. And I'll do a lighter shimmer here and I go with my finger. I do a lighter shimmer here, a mid-tone shimmer, and then a little bit of a deeper shimmer. But this to me just screams spring. And I don't usually like to showcase or talk about a palette that has been discontinued, but if you do already have this, or if you have something very similar to this, I say pull it out. This is perfect for springtime. Next up on my list is the What's Up Beauty Dragon Eye palette. And I think this is so beautiful. It's very small and very compact, so it's also perfect for travel if you're going on spring break and things like that. And I love that this, at first glance, maybe doesn't necessarily scream springtime, but with the metallic shades in here and literally just going in with that soft kind of muted, dusty, purpley type of tones, I think they're perfect for springtime. And then going in and just taking a metallic and going on top of it, or again, using just the metallic shades to create a look. Like, how beautiful is this palette? I think this is incredibly, incredibly beautiful. And I love that even in this palette, there's a little bit of richness here. It's a little bit more neutral leaning, if you will. And there's something for everybody. Somebody, you know, with light skin or deep skin. And then all the different metallic shades, like, they're stunning. And they last a long time on the lids too. I think this is so incredibly beautiful. I love this palette. This is definitely a springtime palette. Next up on the list is the Klarity Kosmetics Lost at Sea palette. And I'm also not sure that this one is still available, but again, I just want to give you guys an idea if you have palettes that are similar to these, or if you already own the palettes. This one offers a little bit more richness, a little bit more depth up here, but these beautiful, like, more bluey shades and then the pinks and this freaking, like, translucent shade right here is absolutely stunning. I think it looks beautiful on top of any of the other mattes. But again, going in with something that's really soft and beautiful, those blues and the pinks and the peaches and stuff like that. You can also, if you have a more intense color and you're trying to make it less intense, if you go in with a super open, fluffy brush, you hold it at the very end of the brush and you pick up this much and you tap it off and then buff it out from here, you're gonna get a soft wash of color. And I'll actually show you that. So you can see there's barely any on here. I'm gonna get up close. And it's not much deeper than that soft kind of more pastelized, you know, orange that's in the Tokyo palette. So that is a really good tip as well. If you're looking at a palette and you're like, you know, everything in here is a little bit too rich, a little bit too jewel toned. If you take that open fluffy brush and you hold it very down, and you hold it really far down here, go in and tap off any excess, you are going to be able to create a lesser pigmented or a lesser intense shadow. So I really love this. I think of also, you know, going into the swimming pool and stuff like that for the first time, really getting out in the sunlight for the first time. So even though it doesn't maybe at first glance look like a springtime palette, I think it is absolutely perfect for springtime. So it had to go on my list, y'all. Next up is a new purchase for me. I've used it quite a few times off of camera. It is the Oden's Eye times Fancy Face, the Earth Wood palette. And this is another one kind of like the Klarity, where there's a little bit of like neutrality and stuff to it, but the beautiful greens in here, the beautiful lilac, that beautiful kind of salmony peachy shade, I think this is perfect for springtime. But again, giving you a little bit of neutrality here, also a little bit more depth here. I think this is so incredibly beautiful. And this freaking shade right here, the shade Beauty, is one of my all-time favorite shades, like ever, of existence. It's a beautiful kind of fiery, like gold to yellow to orange to green. It is so incredibly beautiful, you guys. And even just taking this and just putting it all over the lid, tons of blush, a beautiful soft like pastelized gloss or something like that. I think this is so, so pretty. Like the outside packaging to me also screams springtime, but I think it's perfect for spring. It's also, you know, a little bit more small, a little bit more compact, so perfect for travel and stuff like that. But like the little aqua shade right here, it's more like an aquamarine type of shade. That with the peach, the lavender shades, the greens, I think it is so beautiful. I also really think that you could go with a palette like that, going a little bit more neutral, but then popping it with a little bit of color. So going in and maybe just doing like a soft muted brown in the crease or something like that, or even a soft pinch of an orange, and then popping the inner corner with a chartreuse or something like that. I also think that's super springy, so I love this palette. I think it's beautiful. I think they have beautiful quality, so that definitely had to make my list. Next up is the Gourmande Girls Ethereal palette. I do have a code with Gourmande Girls, Riri10 for 10% off, that is affiliated. This right here is like I was talking about earlier, where this is a full-blown, like, shimmery, glittery type of palette. And I think with this, again, I would go in and maybe pop this one, and then maybe the yellow and like a lilac shade or something like that, and do an all shimmer look. But even going in with just one shimmer all over the crease, especially like this shade here and this shade here, but going in and popping that all over the entire lid is look. And I think that's something that I really love about springtime. And that's kind of the main looks, if you will, that I'll do for like springtime, is just going in with beautiful pops of just shimmers, or going in with something, a little bit of a matte, a light pastelized matte, and then going on top of it with some type of a metallic shade. I think this is perfect. I love that there's pinks, purples, blues, any kind of color you can imagine to pop and pair with by themselves or with a matte. I love this palette. I think it is so incredibly beautiful. Next up is one that is new to me that I've been playing with off of camera and also have used on my niece as well. It is the brand new Cyborg Choir palette from Adept Cosmetics, and the packaging, absolutely stunning. This is a new brand to me, and it doesn't look springy at first. Gotta be quick on that.
Love you.
Love you too. But it doesn't really scream spring, especially looking at the mattes, other than maybe these two right here. And I'm gonna note too, if you guys wanna see some looks with this, again, I've been playing with it off camera. I think it is sold out, but if you wanna see some looks, detailed swatches, whatever, let me know. I'll definitely do that for y'all. But if you pair these with any of these metallic shades, and a lot of these are like hollow chromes, multi-chromes, duochromes, they're absolutely beautiful, you guys. And I love, again, that they're very ethereal, very springy, a little bit more pastelized, but they're just, I love shades like this. I love palettes like this, especially in the springtime. Again, I want to be a little bit more soft, a little bit more fresh, a little bit more ethereal. And I think that it's perfect. You could even go in, if you did want to do something a little bit more intense, and go in with the more kind of rich jewel tones, and then still pop it with any of these shades on top. And I think it is beautiful and impactful. The shimmer formula here, gorgeous. I love it. And I love the packaging. I love everything about this. I think it is so incredibly beautiful. I am pretty blown away by this. The mattes are not my favorite mattes I've ever used, but if you do have this, or you have a palette like this that maybe you're looking at it and you're like, that's a little dark, that's a little intense. Again, go in with that soft, open, fluffy brush, hold it at the very end of the brush, tap it off, and you can put down just a little bit of pigment and then top it with any of these. I think it is absolutely stunning and I love it.
Do you need anything from the store? Oh my lord. No, no. Okay. You sure? How are you? Yeah. I'm a good girl. You want a hot plate from
Next up is the Ace Beaute Paletteopoly palette. I did get this in my Chic Beauty box that was gifted, so thank you to Chic Beauty box. And this, I think, of everything, is probably the most kind of universally spring, if you will, because you have the different variations of colors here, reds and blues and pinks and purples and yellows. You have a row of neutrals, but it offers a little bit more depth than some of these other ones do. So if maybe pastel is not your vibe, or you feel like you need a little bit more pigment, a little bit more intensity, I think this is the way to go. And I love that literally this is a look, so on and so forth. I think this is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful color story. I think that the shades, they correspond beautifully together. They blend well, they wear well on my lids. So yeah, I think this is super, super beautiful. I also really like that probably of all of these, or most of these, I feel like it's also the most beginner friendly. Meaning if you're looking at any of these other palettes and you're like, girl, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do with that. When you look at this, it is very clear that, hey, you would start here and work your way down with this color story. You would start here and use this color story. Or if you wanted to mix and match and kind of stay over here on this side, you can. If you want to come over here and mix and match all of your cool tones, you could do that as well. And I think it's beautiful. I think it's absolutely perfect for springtime. So it was definitely making it into my top 10. And this, honestly, this is what I think of. The blues, the purples, the pinks, the yellows, all of it. I love this palette so, so much. It's so beautiful. Next up, I'm going to talk about these together as one. These are my Cosmic Brushes palettes. I do think that they just changed over to Cosmic Beauty. I could be wrong about that. And again, I'll link everything down below, whatever is still available and stuff like that. But we have the Muse palette and the Serenity palette. And both of these are kind of reminiscent to me of kind of how the Earthwood is, and maybe the Ace Beaute, where there's some neutrality here. And these are spring with a grunge edge, if you will. But still, we have the pretty pastelized shades. We've got the pinks and the greens, a little bit of yellows and stuff like that. Another palette that for me, I think, especially for the price point, fantastic quality, blendable, layerable. They last a long time on my lids. I think this is absolutely stunning. I think it would be perfect for beautiful springtime looks. I love it so much. Then we also have the Serenity palette. And the packaging and everything too, I think is beautiful. They do have large mirrors as well. And this one is leaning a little bit more kind of greeny purpley. There's a little bit of mint, a little bit of peach. Again, a little bit of neutrality in here, and then also some depth so you could build it up if you did want to. But I love this. I think that their mattes are incredible. I think their shimmer formula is incredible. They wear well. I mean, like even these two together, I would do as a look and then pop the shimmer all over or on the inner corner. And I think it would be so, so freaking pretty, you guys. Next up, I'm going to be talking about the Nueva Vida palette from Gourmande Girls. This was a collaboration with Steph's Beauty Stash. And I love the pops of color in here. I love the neons. I love that there's some pastel. I love that there's some neons, a little bit of depth if you did want to go there. And then there's a beautiful like translucent shade that you could put on top of any of these. You could also do what I love to do and go in with this on the inner corner, maybe pop this next and then pop this next. But again, those really pretty blues and peaches and purples and then the lime green and stuff like that. I think it is so pretty. I love Gourmande Girls, as you guys know. But I think this is perfect for springtime. It came out at the perfect time, being for spring. I love the theming, the color story and stuff like that. The packaging is definitely kind of reminiscent of or indicative of what's on the inside of the palette. And I like that this is kind of a blend of like so many of the other ones, where a little bit of neutrality here, a little bit of depth, still a little bit of the pastels. I like the blend and the ratio of the mattes to the shimmer formula here. I think it is so, so beautiful. I love it. And then last, but certainly not least, and this is kind of a cheat because I have not swatched it or used it yet, but when I think about spring, this was one of the very first things that came to mind. It's the KVD Surreal Bloom Metallic Eyeshadow. And again, I love to just pop a little wash of something, a peach, a pink, or something like that, and then do a beautiful metallic on top, or do just one straight metallic, or whatever the case may be. The possibilities are literally endless. But this is another one that is all metallics or all shimmers. I maybe wouldn't always use these. When I think of these, I think more like summertime, bronzy, goldy, stuff like that. But these right here, I think look absolutely stunning for springtime. So I am actually going to swatch those four for y'all. They feel a little bit more dry to the touch, but also incredibly metallic, which I think is stunning. And this is another one that throws something in your crease or not, and then pop this right in there. I think this is so pretty. And again, I cannot attest to, you know, quality, long wearability, or anything like that with this. I just thought with having kind of like that white shade with the blue and the lilac-y shade, I thought it would be perfect for springtime. So those are my top 10 palettes for spring. I kind of think we all have that same kind of vibe for springtime. It's, you know, we're kind of coming out of those more like jewel toned or more grungy, you know, types of looks and stuff like that. It's obviously, you know, everything's coming to life, and I feel like we want that too. We want that kind of fresh, feeling alive, you know, type of vibe. And I mean, just like today, I literally popped on the peachy shade, the pink, and then did a metallic on top. Very, very easy. But when I think of spring, these are the palettes that I think of. I think of just soft and fresh and pastel, pinks, yellows, blues, purples, kind of reminiscent of the way that flowers and stuff would be. That's kind of the vibe that I was going for with these palettes. What are your favorite spring palettes? Are any of these your favorites? Have you been eyeing some of these? Comment down below. Let's have that conversation. Thank you to my beautiful channel members. Thank you to you beauties. I love you. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. And of course, be your own best beautiful. Bye, beauties.